Just a little footnote. I began my YouTube videos uh, in this same manner many years ago, talking about the subject of Bruce Lee. And I mentioned a karate guy, master, grandmaster that I know pretty well, in a speed contest that was conducted between he and Bruce Lee back in the 60s. This was an individual you all are aware of. And Grandmaster Robert Trias asked this black belt at the time, when Bruce Lee was doing a speed contest, or going to see if anyone could block his punch. And he challenged someone from the martial arts community. And this black martial artist was chosen. And he came up. And based on the video evidence, he missed blocking Bruce Lee's punches. Now, you can go view and or review those video clips and come to your own determination. So I'm not going to harp on that anymore. That's water under the bridge. But I started my YouTube video creations from that being, I believe, my first video. Now, there's been so much unwarranted controversy about the credibility of Bruce Lee as a martial artist. And many have said, to include this black belt at the time, and it's on video on YouTube, he made the statement that Bruce Lee was just an actor. Now, for those that have watched me for years now, you already know what my stance is. And for those of you that are passing by, just to sort of recap, Bruce Lee was an actor first. Bruce Lee had done approximately 20 movies in Hong Kong before he came to America. So he was already a polished actor. But while he was in Hong Kong, he studied Wing Chun Kung Fu, or Kung Fu, under Grandmaster Yip Man. He did some other things, boxing and so forth, while he was there. Tai Chi for a moment with his father, practiced. Now we know he came to America, opened up some schools in Oakland and Seattle. He began to teach his method of martial arts that he called Jun Fan and then Jeet Kune Do ultimately. And he became a prominent martial arts film star. He starred in some television series like Green Hornet with Kato, which was his role. And he also appeared in Longstreet with James Franciscus. He appeared in a scene from Marlowe with James Garner. Some other things. Bruce Lee became a household word back in the 60s and 70s, all the way up until his demise in 1973. You know what? I think I got a bit sidetracked. I have a lot of dates in my head right now. Anyway, between 71 and 73, Bruce Lee died. You all know when he actually died. Born November 27, 1940. He died July the 20th. About 32 years later. Anyway, there has been some unwarranted controversy about Bruce Lee's validity as a martial arts master. For those of you who were born around the time that I was born, 50s and 60s, baby boomers, You know this story, or should know this story, as it relates to martial arts being popular in America and then spreading abroad throughout the world. Who was the catalyst for martial arts popularity across the world and how we see it today worldwide? What or who caused that to spark and then flourish? Let's be honest. Now, for you guys that like to call me a Bruce Lee fanboy, I don't accept that. But if that's where your low level of frequency is, that's fine. That's who you are. Most of you that make those statements are uneducated as it relates to Bruce Lee, or you are a new age martial arts practitioner. You're too young to have really vested yourself in martial arts to understand it and the true meaning of martial arts. You're in it for some other reason. Self-aggrandizement, popularity and wealth and so forth, which is the wrong reason. But anyway, if you're honest with yourself, let's go back to the 60s, mid 60s, early 70s, when martial arts began to bloom or blossom. What caused it? Answer that question. What caused martial arts to just hit like that? Have an answer? I'll give you the answer again. Bruce Lee. This guy, this Asian man, this Chinese German heritage, if you will, this man came to America, who people call an actor only. Some call an actor only. This actor is responsible for what you're doing today in America. There was no widespread kung fu schools, karate schools, taekwondo schools, jiu-jitsu schools, judo schools, or whatever in America or across America until Bruce Lee. If the truth be told, and is being told, there are always going to be people who are out there hating on Bruce Lee for their own personal reasons. But you cannot deny history. If you're honest, if you really have any moral integrity, if you're honest in answering the question why or who is responsible for martial arts being worldwide today, it was not a particular karate or kung fu style or teacher. It was Bruce Lee. Now, I lived this. He was my inspiration. There were others, but he was my main inspiration to get involved in martial arts as a child, and not just mine alone. Hundreds of thousands of millions of people were inspired by Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee has been part of many, many magazine articles related to sports and fitness. No other martial arts figure ever has graced the pages of so many periodicals and magazine covers and commentaries and being mentioned in movies and commercials and talks more than Bruce Lee. He's always been the poster child for martial arts, magnificence, excellence across the planet. He has. Now you can mention anybody else you want to. You can mention Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan speaks very highly of Bruce Lee. Jackie Chan appeared in 2 of Bruce Lee's movies. He respected Bruce Lee. So is that the one you want to use as starting this thing with martial arts popularity? No. He had his career catapulted by Bruce Lee. Jet Li, Once Upon a Time in China, and all the other movies he did began to escalate in popularity because of Bruce Lee. Yang Zi, who we call Bolo or Bolo Young, his martial arts popularity grew because of Bruce Lee, his role in Enter the Dragon in 1972. Bob Wall got some other major roles. God rest his soul, he just passed away not too long ago because of Bruce Lee. He got his popularity. Now we all know someone's going to disagree with what I'm about to say, but it's okay. I don't care if you disagree. But it doesn't change the truth. Chuck Norris would not have his station in life today on the level that it is, popularity, martial arts and otherwise, had it not been for Bruce Lee giving him the role in Return of the Dragon. That was the catalyst for Chuck Norris to skyrocket to fame. Jim Kelly, God rest his soul, he got his martial arts movie career started from Bruce Lee. He appeared in Melinda, then in Enter the Dragon as Williams. From that point forward, he grew. Black Belt Jones, Tattoo Connection, Black Samurai, Three the Hard Way, One Down, Two to Go, and so forth. And he gave Bruce Lee his just due. Dan Inosanto would not be the guru or the martial arts prodigy and or master that he is today had it not been for Bruce Lee and him coming together. And he loves his teaching. He still teaches his Filipino martial arts. He still has schools. But he gives credence. He gives his proper due to his instructor, Bruce Lee. And there are many, many, many more. Richard Pastillo, who I believe is passed now, gave his due to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee taught Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, gave him a role in Game of Death. Bruce Lee gave a lot of people roles. Angela Mao, who is still living, who played his sister in Enter the Dragon. He hired a lot of people. He gave a lot of people work. John Saxon, who played Roper in Enter the Dragon. Anna Capri, both of them are passed now, God rest their souls, because of Bruce Lee. Now, I'm going to slow down on all of the accolades as far as the other people are concerned because of time. And I would have to think. But I think you get the point. Bruce Lee made a lot of people wealthy. Bruce Lee gave a lot of people the popularity that they have today. Made them even more popular than they were before he came on the scene. He is worth the credit that has been given to him as the most celebrated 21st and the 20th century martial artist. He is. Now again, for some strange reason, I have to always insert this. For those people who are jealous, who are severely jealous of Bruce Lee, and anyone giving Bruce Lee credit like I am, I have to say this. Yes, there were other martial arts masters, grandmasters, whatever title they held, that were as good as Bruce Lee. Maybe even better. But who cares about it? They did not surface during that time. Bruce Lee surfaced from amongst all of the many. He chose to, as he said in his words, martial arts, honestly, to me, is expressing one's self. And he did just that. He expressed himself through his craft through his art, and he met an untimely death. I believe that Bruce Lee, in his struggle for perfection of self, that is what caused his early death, being the perfectionist that he was. But he did indeed achieve his goal, spiritually and physically. And he's left as a very beautiful memory with most of us that really knew his character and who he was. And he'll never die with me. I'll never stop appreciating the work that he left behind. Because had it not been for him inspiring me, I more than likely would have never began martial arts. That's just my take and my brief story. So, those who still think that Bruce Lee was just an actor, the whole world, or the vast majority of the martial arts world and even fans, say different. He was an actor, and he was a great martial artist. So I know there's some people, they're gonna die with their old habits and their old ways, stuck in their old ways, still denouncing him as a great martial artist. It's okay. We have plenty of you out there. But I think most of you know the truth. You know, Five Fingers of Death was a movie that came out, and Iron Hammer of God, or Triple Irons, and Lady Kung Fu. There was various movies that came out. Five Deadly Venoms, Chinese Hercules. That was Bolo or Young Z during those years. You know, all of these guys began to make even more films. There were people who were trying to imitate Bruce Lee during those days. No one else was being imitated. So why was he being imitated? Go figure. Someone saw something in him, and it wasn't an actor. And to this day, approximately 50 years after he died, he's still a household word. He's still debated. No other martial arts master is debated and controversial as Bruce Lee. So it must be something to it. Just think on these things. This is Brother Teacher. I just wanted to share that moment with you. If you found any benefit, or you got some kind of melancholy feeling again, warm and cozy about it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel about why martial arts became as popular as it is today. So a lot of these people today who are hating on Bruce Lee's legacy just fully don't realize it's all about them. They don't fully realize that they wouldn't be popular today had it not been for him. And that's across the spectrum of martial arts styles and systems. None of us would be where we are today had he not broke down that iron curtain between Asia and the West. Think about it. I'm out.